On a planet with finite resources, more human demand is placed on many species than supply exists. This contribution to the endangerment of species causes conservation laws to be passed to protect dwindling wildlife. Sadly, the rarest are often the most wanted. Thus, legal protection measures may be skirted by the insatiable traffickers of rare species. In this account, we profile the most stolen animals in nature, the dubious record holders for being the most trafficked species on the planet. Number 10. Macaws. The indisputable kings and queens of the parrot world, macaws, measuring more than 3 feet in length and adorned in extraordinary multicolored plumes and bare parts, are prime targets of poachers. Able to talk, possessing great intelligence, and holding an iconic status among rainforest birds, macaws are a variety of species that are being pushed towards extinction by poaching for the pet trade. Species like the scarlet macaw and the brilliant blue and gold colored hyacinth macaw, the world's largest parrot, are threatened by capture and shipment in defiance of carefully enacted bird conservation regulations at local, national, and international levels. Many die in shipment or in long-term captivity, while wild populations are reduced to beyond self-sustaining and resilient levels by poaching. Fortunately, conservationists are learning effective ways of combating the carnage. Sometimes this means taking truly extreme measures of dedication and endurance at great cost to human comfort. A most dramatic example is the avian bodyguard crew of rangers in Belize who camp out in inclement weather night and day for the 5-month-long portion of the scarlet macaw's breeding season and when its chicks are being cared for. Known as the Scarlet 6 Biomonitoring Team, the group of 5 Belizean citizens and a single American citizen are dedicated to stopping insane poaching levels with seemingly insane dedication. And in this case, it's actually working. Number 9. African elephants. African elephants are the largest land animals in the modern natural world. Their illegal killing for ivory products by poachers is also a huge problem on equal par with the size of these animals. So much so that poaching and elephant poaching are often synonymous in popular discussion around much of Africa. The year 1989 was when the Convention on the International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, enacted a global ban on the international trade in elephant tusk ivory, following declines in the 1980s that were driven by poaching of up to 100,000 elephants annually across Africa. Many regions saw the complete loss of herds, while others were severely thinned. China is the largest global market for ivory, where the product finds its way into a wide variety of consumer goods. Increasing environmental education on the consumer market end is key, while stopping poaching in elephant habitats represents the other side of the equation. A sadly regular sight across parts of Africa has been piles of confiscated elephant tusks stacked like a macabre effigy, ready to be burned, part of an effort to combat poaching. Tragically, many rangers tasked with protecting the elephants have been added to the growing body count. Sakuma National Park in Chad has a sad display of 6 rangers who were murdered during morning prayers by heavily armed elephant poachers. The partnership between the Chad government and the organization African Park saw Sakuma transformed into a thriving elephant sanctuary despite the initial tragic killing of the rangers. Number 8. Saiga Antelope. A rare member of the ungulate order, the Saiga antelope is a little-known antelope among the general public, but it's known all too well by poachers who target the species. Native to Central Asian steppe habitats, the saiga is equipped with an enormous nose that lends it a cartoonish appearance, but serves the practical purpose of warming the freezing air of the Asian steppe before it enters the lungs of the saiga. Unique among all animal species in appearance, the saiga are classified by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature as critically endangered. The range of the saiga used to extend across Mongolia and into China and included Moldova and Romania, but it has dwindled to occur only in parts of Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and parts of western Mongolia. The species dates back to the Pleistocene era, surviving into modern times. Saiga are highly threatened by poaching, adding to the disastrous effects of a bacteria that triggered a plague killing 62% of the world population in 2015. Long popular in traditional medicines of Asia, saiga are being shot for their horns, which are then cut off and ground up or made into shavings and used as a supposed medicinal tonic. Saiga export is strictly illegal in their home countries, but loopholes in Asian market countries permit trade in stored saiga horns harvested in the 1990s. Newly poached saiga is thus being disguised as legal saiga. Armed rangers in Kazakhstan face a tough battle to protect these rare survivors from the Ice Age. Number 7. Snow leopard. The snow leopard is highly trafficked despite its small numbers for its coat, and it's an iconic Asian wild cat. With only about 4,000 of this rare and mysterious species still present in the wild, stopping the poachers is a crucial task. The problem is compounded by the poaching itself. As snow leopards become rarer, the value of their pelts becomes even higher through scarcity and growing perceptions of exclusivity despite its illegality. While only a percentage of snow leopards killed are specifically targeted for their pelts, with protection of livestock being a prime motivation for many shootings, opportunism presents itself as pelts of illegally culled animals are then sold on the black market. Like many endangered and trafficked animals, the snow leopard has an organization solely dedicated to its survival, the increasingly powerful Global Snow Leopard Ecosystem Protection Program. This program is formed out of an alliance between the governments of the 12 countries in which the snow leopard occurs. Education campaigns and enforcement measures are crucial to stem the flow of snow leopards out of nature and into illicit markets. High-tech solutions, including DNA analysis, are being put to use, showing the unfortunate reality of yet another reason snow leopards have had a bounty placed on their heads by traffickers. Snow leopard bones have been used in medicines in lieu of increasingly scarce tiger bones. Number 6. Birds of prey. Birds of prey may be top predators, but they rather ironically fall prey to traffickers thanks to their exceptional hunting ability. Being a status symbol in some cultures, falcons, eagles, and other impressive meat-eating birds are poached by collectors and those wanting to keep the birds for falconry outside of the normal process for legally acquiring a hunting bird. The International Association for Falconry and Conservation of Birds of Prey identifies poaching of rare species such as the crisis-level plundering of Bonelli's eagles in southern Europe by criminal organization members as key threats to raptor conservation worldwide. In just the case of Bonelli's eagle, criminals are putting this species at risk of extinction just by poaching the birds in their nests. Furthermore, given the prestigious following of falconry and the work and dedication of legitimate falconers, the illegal side of working with raptors is feared as a rogue element capable of giving an undeserved bad name to falconry. As a result of the short-term gain available to the poachers who try all types of methods of snaring and seizing young and adult birds of prey, population declines and disturbance and destruction of nesting sites has become a growing threat that makes birds of prey among the most aggressively poached types of wildlife on the planet. Number 5. Hawksbill Turtles. Thinking about getting a sea turtle shell as a souvenir, or even just a small piece of jewelry fashioned from the remains of an unfortunate sea reptile? Well, think again. Sea turtles are an unfortunate target of poachers on the high seas and beaches alike. The hawksbill turtle, heavily trafficked for ornamental use, is one example of the sea turtle plundering problem described by the brilliantly named organization Too Rare to Wear. This organization offers website visitors a button to report turtle shell products. Hawksbill turtles have seen their global population fall by around 85% in the last 100 years, affected not only through bycatch but also as a result of persistent poaching activity. Furthermore, the sea turtles have a pattern of turning up in remote areas where they are easily taken by poachers, vulnerable to being far away from the watchful eye of conservation authorities. The hawksbill turtles are fully protected from being harvested in the majority of countries, yet poachers brazenly go afoul of the law due to the demand for turtle products. Number 4. Sharks. Move over Jaws propaganda. Sharks are in far more trouble from humans than humans are from sharks, and we can thank the truly terrifying shark traffickers for this crisis. Sharks of several species, preyed upon for their fins, used in soup, are being killed in extraordinary numbers, their body parts trafficked around the globe for unnecessary culinary use. Close to 73 million sharks end up being slaughtered for their fins yearly in a gruesome and abusive practice that involves cutting the fins off live sharks, which are then cruelly thrown back to die, minus their fins, and this also, of course, wastes the meat. Canada is partially to blame in this global crisis. Despite a ban on shark finning in Canadian waters, they are the largest importer of shark fins outside of Asia. Canadian environmental legislators have failed to ban the importation of shark fins previously, though as of 2019, efforts are underway to enact a ban through the House of Commons. Filmmaker Rod Stewart produced the documentary Sharkwater in 2007, followed by Sharkwater Extinction in 2018, to highlight the plight of sharks and the need for stricter regulation to stop both trafficking and trade through legal loopholes. In 2017, 170,000 kilograms of shark fins were imported into Canada, representing a 60% increase from 2012. A petition is going on to request a ban on shark fin importation into Canada. Number 3. Rhinoceroses. Save the Rhino International is just one of the organizations and initiatives centered around combating the illegal trade in the horns of critically endangered rhinoceros species. Rhinoceroses are huge ungulates that rank as some of the largest megafauna on the planet. They are also among the most wanted, given that all rhinoceroses are critically endangered except for one species of white rhinoceros, the southern white rhinoceros. While banned internationally under CITES, the international rhino horn trade poses a massive threat to rhinos, and it continues anyway despite the ban because there's such a huge demand for rhino horn elixirs and its purpose in medicine. Also, jewelry can be made from rhino horn. Growing levels of poaching have placed rhinos as prime targets among the world's most heavily trafficked animals. In just 2 years, South Africa saw 1,000 rhinos poached from 2017 to 2019. Conservationists have enacted some rather drastic measures which have come with their own share of controversy. Poison has been placed in the horns of living rhinos by the Rhino Rescue Project, contaminating the horns but not the rhinos, making them unmarketable. Other measures enacted have included cutting off the horns on living rhinos to dissuade poachers from making a kill. Number 2. Tigers. Tigers, trafficked for their fur and bones, are the world's greatest cats. Although lions have been hailed the king of the beasts, tigers are actually larger, holding the world record for their size. With their extraordinary fur and the various myths about the medicinal properties endowed by their bones and other body parts, including blood and even unlikely parts such as the claws, which are thought to harbor special properties, there's a big demand. Tragically, superstition and the desire for the odd aesthetic of a tiger skin has driven wild tiger numbers down to an all-time low of around 3,000 wild tigers. Their dwindling numbers are spread out across countries as diverse as Russia, India, and Malaysia, while also represented in China, Nepal, Bangladesh, among other Asian countries. Organized criminal gangs have frequently interrupted trafficking the parts of butchered tigers and their skins into Asian markets, where the demand for tiger wine made from bones and their skin, or even just charms made from tiger claws, presents a sufficient return for their effort, coupled with penalties that are insufficient and light enforcement in many areas. To combat the highly lucrative trade, conservation initiatives such as Trafficked, which established International Tiger Day on July 29th, rely on education to reduce demand. Higher tech routes have been taken, including working with the Indian government to create TigerNet, which assists in tracking and apprehending poachers. The Wildlife Protection Society of India set up a system for informants to turn in poachers for a cash reward and also hires traveling informants. Number 1. Pangolins. Some creatures seem to exist just to defy our attempts to classify them. Pangolins are warm-blooded, bona fide mammals related to normal mammals like mice and tigers, but bearing the likeness of a scaled dragon or other mythical reptile. Pangolins make up 8 species, 4 African in origin and 4 Asian species. Pangolins, related to the carnivores most closely among their mammal relatives, boast the distinction of being the world's only scaled mammals, but also hold the dubious distinction of being the world's most trafficked animals. Shockingly, this one rare and endangered type of animal accounts for a staggering traffic count of approximately 100,000 animals every year, according to WildAid, a conservation organization heroically working to curb their slaughter. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature has designated all their species as critically endangered, while international bans on any cross-border transport have been enacted since 2016. Nevertheless, poaching persists, keeping pangolins in the unfortunate, most trafficked spot. Pangolins are used as a traditional medicine at unsustainable levels and have taken hold as a popular food item, especially in Southeast Asia, and are taken from the wild as exotic pets and used to make exotic jewelry, garments, and ornamentation thanks to their scales. The trade in pangolin products goes back a long time, for even King George III received pangolin armor. In addition to the massive quantities being trafficked, over 100 separate trafficking routes have been documented. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up below. Don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos just like this every day of the week. Also, for more from me, check out my other channel, Biographics, that is linked to below. And as always, thank you for watching.